Hello and welcome to HW News. It was in the month of March when the lockdown was announced that India saw India saw people who were being termed as super spreaders of coronavirus. Now, at that point of time, when coronavirus induced lockdown was imposed in the country, and the threat of coronavirus spread was so high. Now, ironically, the fear of coronavirus has come down drastically at a time when we are staring at 30 lakh cases, and every day there are more than 60,000 cases that are being reported for the last few days. And at this point of time, the fear that has drastically reduced. It is very ironic. So just thought it is a point that we must mention right over here. So these super spreaders, these people who were termed to be super spreaders, were Tablighi Jamaat members. Now, foreigners and Indian Muslims who came from different part of the country, and the foreigners who came from different countries across the world, they came to India to attend an event called Markaz at Nizamuddin, Delhi. And due to lockdown, they were staying at the lockdown was announced very suddenly, and they couldn't go out anywhere, and thus they were residing at Nizamuddin Mosque in Delhi. So they were accused of hiding inside the mosque. They were accused of spreading coronavirus. Then you would have seen the visuals flashing on your television news channels where they were accused of being corona jihadis. They were accused of being corona suicide bombers. They were accused of spreading coronavirus, being super spreaders. There were debates that were arranged on news channels that said that will these Tablighi Jamaat members will take us to the stage 3 of coronavirus pandemic. Now, it is very surprising, and it must be noted over here that even when we are staring at 30 lakh cases, the government is not ready to say it out loud that we have reached third stage. It has not confirmed that we are at stage 3 of the coronavirus pandemic. So I thought just we must note here that that at that point of time it was said that Tablighi Jamaat members would have taken us to the stage 3 of coronavirus pandemic. But right now, even at 30 lakh cases, the government is not ready to confirm it. So after all of this, government sprung into action. Several FIRs were filed against several Tablighi Jamaat members. In Maharashtra's Ahmednagar, during the lockdown, some Tablighi Jamaat members were residing in a mosque in Ahmednagar, and they were charged by the Maharashtra Police. There was FIR filed against them by Maharashtra Police for violating the visa rules and also propagating Islam. So an FIR was filed against them under the Foreigners Act. An FIR was filed against them. An FIR was filed against them under the Foreigners Act, under the Disaster Management Act, and under the Epidemics Act. But today, while Bombay High Court, while pronouncing the judgment in this particular case, it was hearing the petitioner, it also heard the state side, etc., and it was delivering the judgment. The bench of Justice T.V. Nalawade and Justice M.G. Sewlikar, they came down heavily on the central government. They came down heavily on Maharashtra Police, the Maharashtra state government, as well as the media houses. The bench said that there was a propaganda against the Tablighi Jamaat members. There was a sort of stereotype against them. It slammed the Maharashtra Police for acting mechanically. It slammed the Maharashtra state government for acting out of political compulsion. And there is one important statement that it made in context of the central government's action during the Tablighi Jamaat episode. And I want to read it out to you. It said that a political government tries to find the scapegoat when there is a pandemic or calamity, and the circumstances show that there is a probability that these foreigners were chosen to make them scapegoats. So, the Bombay High Court bench said that the Tablighi Jamaat members were probably made the scapegoat during this entire period when the coronavirus lockdown was just introduced. The further in this entire judgment, it also says, I read the entire 58-page judgment. In the judgment, it also says that there was a kind of an attempt to create a scare in the minds of Indian Muslims as well, and many other points that the judgment has raised. It is a very strongly worded judgment, and I'm going to read it out to you. in entirely. What are the petitioners, Tablighi Jamaat members saying? It is the contention of the petitioners, who are mainly foreign nationals, that they came to India on valid visa issued by the government of India, and they have come to experience the Indian culture, tradition, hospitality and Indian food. It is their contention that on their arrival at the airport they were screened and tested for COVID-19 virus, and only when they were found negative for the virus they were allowed to leave the airport. They also further said in the petition that they were visiting various places of India and particularly Ahmednagar to observe the religious practice of Muslim. They further said that after their arrival in Ahmednagar district, they had informed to District Superintendent of Police about their arrival, and that was done much prior to the date of registration of the crime against them. Though they have contended that the lockdown was declared by Maharashtra government on 14th of March, actually the lockdown. They have contended that due to the lockdown, the vehicular movement was stopped and the persons were not allowed to leave the residential places to prevent the spreading of COVID-19. They said that the masjid had given them shelter to them as due to lockdown order, hotels and lodges were closed. It is their contention that some order was issued by the collector, but that was not actually prohibitory order and they were not involved in any illegal activity, including the breach of order of district collector. They also said that even at the Markaz event, they had observed norms of physical distancing. They said while granting the visa, they were not asked to inform to local authority about their visit to those places, but they had in fact informed the local officers. Under the condition of visa, there was no prohibition to visit religious places like masjids, and there was prohibition to visit containment areas and the connected areas with regard to defense matter. They further said in their petition that they were not involved in any breach of order or propagating the Muslim religion. Now, what do the guidelines in the material provided by the state say? Now, the materials provided by the state show that though restrictions are put on the foreigners who come to India on a tourist visa to prevent them from engaging in Tablighi activities, there is no restriction on them to visit the religious places, to attend the normal religious activities like attending religious discourse. However, preaching the religious ideology, making speeches in religious places, distribution of audio or visual display or pamphlets pertaining to religious ideologies, spreading conversion, etc. is prohibited. Along with another compilation, the state has produced details of visa granted by India, and this is also a photocopy produced along with affidavit in the compilation by the state. Now, citing a number of government orders and circulars that were issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs, the bench said that the aforesaid material produced on the record shows that even under recent updated manual visa, there is no restriction on foreigners for visiting religious places and attending normal religious activities like attending religious discourses. The court said this record shows that most of these foreigners had arrived in India in February 2020 and some of them had arrived in March 2020 but before 10th of March 2020. The court in its judgment said that the FIR was first only filed against those who gave the Tablighi Jamaat members shelter. So it said that it can be inferred from this that there was no intention initially to file any FIR against Tablighi Jamaat members, but later on the direction of the central government, Maharashtra Police did file an FIR against these Tablighi Jamaat members who were residing in Ahmednagar Mosque. It further says the statements of the witnesses recorded by the police are stereotype, and it can be said that word to word, line to line and para to para of the statements are copied. Further, some trustees of the masjids are made accused in these proceedings and also in separate proceedings, and there are statements of those trustees which cannot be used against foreigners or against those trustees. Most of the information shown to be given by the witnesses is apparently hearsay in the nature. The judges further said that considering the date on which the FIR was registered, it would be safe to say that they probably tested positive and they got infected due to coronavirus in India It further noted that there was a screening process that was going on at the airport at the time when these Tablighi Jamaat members from foreign countries came to India, and the exercise was carried out by the central government on the suspicion that they already had a coronavirus. At that point of time, the central government and everybody who was arriving from different countries to India, they were being screened at the airport, and before leaving the airport it was made sure that they had no temperature that was considered as high temperature. So the judgment also mentions that, the judgment also says that the criminal case cannot be tried on the basis of such suspicion. But the court also came down heavily on the media channels on the kind of coverage that they did on the Tablighi Jamaat episode. There was a big propaganda in print media and electronic media against the foreigners who had come to Markaz, Delhi, and an attempt was made to create a picture that these foreigners were responsible for spreading COVID-19 virus in India. There was virtually persecution against these foreigners. A political government tries to find the scapegoat when there is a pandemic or calamity, and the circumstances show that there is a possibility that these foreigners were chosen to make them scapegoats. The aforesaid circumstances and the latest figure of infection in India show that such action against present petitioner should not have been taken. It is now high time for the concerned to repent about this action taken against the foreigners and to take some positive steps to repair the damage done by such action. It further said that propaganda against the so-called religious activity was unwarranted. The court further slammed the central government and said, "In our culture, there is a saying like Atithi Devo Bhava, which means that our guest is our God. The circumstances of the present matter create a question as to whether we are really acting as per our great tradition and culture. During the situation created by COVID-19 pandemic, we need to show more tolerance and we need to be more sensitive towards our guests, particularly like the present petitioner. The allegation made show that instead of helping them, we lodge them in jails by making allegation that they are responsible for violation of travel documents, they are responsible for spreading virus, etc." The court further also said that if there was any substance in the allegation that these are members that are spreading the coronavirus, if there is any substance in that allegation, then even after that, there would have been a proper action taken against them, and the proper action would have been to deport them to their countries, to send them back to their countries without taking any action against them. The court said that at the time that we are in pandemic, the near and dear ones whose near and dear ones are out of the house, who are especially out of the country, they are very concerned about the well-being of those persons, and at that time adding such a case, filing such an FIR is not only harassing the persons but also harassing their near and dear ones. It also mentioned that these foreign nationals, Tablighi Jamaat members, came from different countries like Tanzania, they came from Ivory Coast, some from Indonesia, and many of them had also come from Ghana. Background of malice. The court said that the question arises as to what must have tempted the authority to issue such a direction against the foreigners like the petitioners. The record of this matter and the submissions made show that the action of central government was taken mainly against Muslim persons who had come to Markaz, Delhi for Tablighi Jamaat. Similar action was not taken against other foreigners belonging to other religions. It further said that it can be said due to the present action is taken, a fear was created in the minds of those Muslims. This action indirectly gave warning to Indian Muslims that action in any form for anything can be taken against Muslims. It was indicated that even for keeping contact with Muslims of other countries, action will be taken against them. Thus, there is a smell of malice to the action taken against these foreigners and Muslims for their alleged activities. The Bombay High Court bench also slammed the Maharashtra Police and Maharashtra State Government. It said that the Maharashtra Police acted very mechanically and the Maharashtra State Government, on the other hand, acted out of political compulsions. It said that the Maharashtra Police did not make use of or exercise their powers bestowed upon them under procedural laws like CRPC and any substantive laws. So it also slammed the state government of Maharashtra and Maharashtra Police as well. It also slammed the central government as well. As of now, the FIRs have been quashed. FIRs against Tablighi Jamaat members that was filed by Maharashtra Police has been quashed, and this is what the bench of Bombay High Court said about Tablighi Jamaat members. Do let us know what you think about this in the comment box below. For more news and updates, you can log on to www.hwnews.in.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.